Good morning. This is Thursday, and I'm here at one of my favorite spots in Brunswick County. This is the Brunswick River Walk overlooking the Brunswick River. I enjoy so much coming here for solitude and prayer, just to be by myself on the trail and pray and to be with God. And I wanted to remind you today that we are seeking to run to win as a church, as a body of believers, as individual Christians. I want to share with you not only about praying that we talked about yesterday, but being filled with His Spirit. For His Spirit is the power of God that indwells us. His Spirit is the mind of Christ that indwells us. And we need to be filled with His Spirit. Being filled with the Spirit just means to be controlled by the Spirit, to allow Him to control our lives, because He is here to work in us and through us to make us Christ-like and to give us the power to live the Christian life. And so I want to share with you a couple of passages. In Ephesians chapter 5, we read in verse 18 and following, it says, "And do not get drunk with wine, for that is debauchery, but be filled with the Spirit, addressing one another in psalms and hymns and spiritual songs, singing and making melody with your heart to the Lord, giving thanks always and for everything to God the Father in the name of the Lord Jesus Christ, submitting to one another out of reverence for Christ." You see, being filled with the Spirit means being controlled. We're not to be controlled by other things like alcohol or drugs or food. We're to be controlled by our mighty God who loves us and created us, by Jesus who saved us by dying on the cross for us. And so as we allow Him to control us and to work in and through us, then we will have a song in our heart. We will be filled with joy. We will address each other with reverence and respect. We will do good deeds naturally as He works in our lives. So we just need to allow Him to do what He is here to do and to change us into the likeness of Christ. That is the power of prayer as we seek Him. In Romans 8:26, it says, "Likewise, the Spirit helps us in our weakness, for we do not know what to pray for as we ought, but the Spirit Himself intercedes for us with groanings too deep for words. And He who searches hearts knows what is the mind of the Spirit, because the Spirit intercedes for the saints according to the will of God. And we know that these things," the wind's blowing, "that for those who love God, all things work together for those who are called for good, for those who are called according to His purpose." So you see, when we don't know how to pray, when we can't pray, when we don't know what to do, when we humble ourselves in reverence to God, His Spirit takes over, and His Spirit prays. His Spirit knows the mind of God. His Spirit knows the will of God, and He knows what to pray for. So I encourage you to let Him control you. But not only that, we have to be fueled by faith in order to run to win and have a praying life. In Hebrews 11:6, it says, "Without faith it is impossible to please Him, for whoever would draw near to God must believe that He exists and that He rewards those who seek Him." You see, without prayer, we are powerless. And faith, without faith, we are powerless. And as we know God, we need to believe that He can do what He says He's going to do. We need to believe not only that He can, but He will do what He says that He'll do. That He will answer us and do great and mighty things that we don't know about. I exhort you today to pray, but to be filled with the Spirit, praying in the Spirit by His might, by His will, that He might intercede on our behalf, that He might hear from heaven and forgive our sin and heal our land. Be blessed today and be safe till we see each other again.